What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Gaming Duo podcast. I'm Kelvin, the Kevlar Vest, and I'm joined by co-host Rob, the Robot. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We are the podcast that discusses the latest gaming news each and every Wednesday live on YouTube and wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Rob, how you been?
I'm okay, sir. How about you? Are you a little under the weather? You sound a little sicky.
Yeah. This past weekend, I caught a cold, and I'm still kind of recovering from that cold. It's been rough. It's been rough for sure. So if I sound a little stuffy, I apologize, but I'm gonna make it through because we
should
don't give up
apologize.
in this. Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
But
you should definitely apologize for being sick. You should never be sick. Shame on you.
I mean, you know what I mean.
You do work in a hospital.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you would think my immune system is way better. You know what I mean?
Well, you are soft, so.
Damn. Got me. Rob,
Yes,
what
sir.
have you been playing? What's going on with your life? Tell us. Talk to us.
So pretty interesting stuff here. I booked a trip to Puerto Rico with Jess last week, or not last week, but we actually got like the hotel and Airbnb and all that stuff. So I'll be gone for not next week, but the following week. I think we'll be gone for a few days. So we're going to San Juan, and I mean, you've been to Puerto Rico. Can you tell me, some recommendations? What was your favorite part about Puerto Rico? I guess you were in San Juan, right?
We landed. So I went to Puerto Rico a few times. One, it was on a cruise, and we strictly just stayed in San Juan. You're staying in San Juan as well.
We're
right?
staying in San Juan, close to the beach. I forget what it's called, but it's like more on the northeast side of the island. But yeah.
So you're gonna do a lot of walking, gorgeous sites. You're gonna be looking at gorgeous sites and a lot of eating, man. There's a lot of places to go. There's a lot of like just shops that you can just go to and get what you need. Like you're in a prime spot, obviously. That's like the center of touristy spots.
Right.
So
Except for Old Head San Juan. I heard that's pretty cool.
yes. Yeah.
And
And you're there for what, a week?
5 days, I think I want to say. Like 5 days.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. That's not too bad.
Let me ask a question. Do I need a car? Do I need to rent a car or no? Should I?
I think you should. I
See,
think unless you were gonna strictly stay in San Juan, if you want to venture out, I would definitely have a car for sure. Everything is in driving distance. Like you would take no more than 2 hour drives to certain spots, but you want to get around and you want to get around easily. And I think a car would be the best. Otherwise, what you would do, like Uber?
Yeah, Uber.
Yeah, you want to do Uber. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think you should. I mean, it's gonna rack up a lot,
quite a bit, because we're going to be there or like you said, nothing's really walking distance. It's all driving distance away, like all the attractions.
But it's not like terrible. Like it's like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours at most, whatever you're going to. So it does, you are going to be driving quite a lot, but at least if you do have a car, you can go wherever you want. You don't have to worry about, you're good,
Okay. Well, I might just I might rent one while I'm there. I don't think I'm going to book in advance. I think I'll just like go and feel it out and be like, okay, yeah, we do need a car. Then I'll just go rent one because I don't think it's terribly expensive. So
yeah. We'll see. But that's going to be exciting. That's your first time there. So that's going to be cool to see. And let me know, what you think of it. Cause obviously, I'm Puerto Rican. So it's nice to see that you're there and it's like, it's cool.
The home, the motherland.
Yeah, man. So what have you been playing? That's what we want to talk about.
That's a lot. That's a loaded question, my friend. I've been playing a lot of games. I did a little live stream of Dead Space. I'm going to continue probably do a live stream. I might do one maybe tomorrow night, maybe Friday again. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll let you guys know. But that was fun. Unfortunately, the stream did end a little early because of technical issues, but the stream itself was fun. So I'm definitely going to be streaming that more, but I've been playing more into the story. I played Super Smash Brothers with you yesterday, which is pretty fun, and I kicked your butt.
Yeah,
I got you.
All right.
I got you. I got you.
Kick my butt.
All right.
Yeah, I was a little rusty. I admit. I was playing just kind of like soft, very soft. So you definitely beat me once or twice, but it's okay.
And then what else? Hi-Fi Rush. I took a little break on just because Dead Space came out, and I kind of wanted to play through that. So I think that's really it right now. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but those are kind of like the big two ones. Oh, and Gears. We play Gears together.
Play Gears. I'm honestly down to play Gears tonight if you're down.
I, you know, remember when I got that 6 kills in a row? I got 6 kills in a row.
You nailed it last night. You fucking killed it. I was like on the weaker side. I was just like not really. I was feeling it, but I wasn't like taking it serious. You know, that was like the match I was just like dicking around. Right, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Rob's like over here kicking ass. Like, let me step it up a notch. And of course, we ended it at that point. But we did. I got to redeem myself for sure.
You do. We're seasoned vets, man. We're seasoned vets of that game. So we gotta.
Yes.
You know.
Poot McPoot. In the chat here says Gears 5. Yes, we were playing Gears 5 and we had a blast yesterday, so you should definitely come hang out with us one time. I think we're gonna, I don't know, I'll probably just stream it on our Discord. So if you're not in our Discord, a little chat there, you should definitely come in and join us in the Discord. Sometimes we just stream there and just kind of shoot the shit, talk and have fun. So definitely check us out.
Yeah, I think I'll post the link to Discord in the chat so everyone can see it. So that way you can just join and hang out. But yeah, we'll be streaming it. So
also, Rob,
who is Poot? Big Poot. Who is that?
It's Pat from Press Any Key.
Oh, this is my alt. Okay, got it. I'm like, wait, well, I'm so confused. I'm like, who's Poot? Anyways.
Hi-Fi, Rob. Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about that game because last time we spoke about it was last week when it was revealed, so we didn't get a chance to play it.
Yes.
We've had a chance to play it, and oh my gosh, that game is phenomenal, dude. Like, I love almost every aspect of that game. That game is such a treat, especially with you, right? Because you're playing Dead Space, and then when you play Dead Space, you kind of tune out and then go back to Hi-Fi, and you're like, all right, this is a nice little break from scary gore, right?
Yeah, a little reset my heart rate a little bit, put it down a little bit, in a good way. So,
but I'm not a huge rhythm based gamer, right? And so when I played that game, I'm just like, dude, this is right up my alley. Like, for some reason, everything about it, like art style, the comedy, the way everything just flows nicely, and the gameplay is just all tunes into like one really fun time. Like, I just love jumping in and just kind of like play. I will say though, when I'm playing on my Steam Deck, there's a little hiccups, and I think, I don't know if it has to do with the Steam Deck or if it has to do with my internet connection, but the rhythm base, if I'm trying to do like some type of combo, it doesn't let me finish my combo for some reason.
You're playing on the cloud, that's why, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. It's the cloud, so I have to like reboot it, and then it'll work just fine. But it's a pain in the ass. But other than that,
old input lag. That's what that is right there.
Yes. But it's fun, man. I love that game. It's so fun.
Is that it? It's so Smash Gears and Hi-Fi kind of.
Yeah, that's really it. And then I played.
Did you play?
Yeah. I'll just stick to that because that's all I really played. I haven't really I dabbled a little bit with what's it called? High on Life. But okay. I stopped playing that because I wanted to focus on Hi-Fi Rush. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Rob, before we get into the show, though, I really want to get into this week's episode of The Last of Us, HBO. Now, this was an interesting episode. This was probably one of the highlight episodes that everyone's talking about right now because it is so deep and so just emotionally draining at the same time. What did you think of the episode?
The episode was a nice side I don't want to say side quest, but like side note to the series as far as what's happening from other people's perspective on how this apocalypse is affecting everyone. And this
before you keep going, obviously, guys, we are going to go into full spoilers of the episode. So if you haven't watched it, please make sure that you tune into the episode before you watch this.
Spoilers for audio listeners. Spoiler. Yeah, just skip on ahead if this, but yeah. So go in. Let's do it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, no, you continue.
Yeah, I love the episode. I think it's like critically acclaimed right now as far as what everyone's saying. IGN gave it like a 10 out of 10. People are saying it's like one of the best pieces of television,
TV media.
Yeah. And yes, the fact that like my girlfriend was next to me watching it and she's just like bawling, crying at the end. At the end of it, it tells you something, right? Like someone who's not invested in Last of Us has nothing to do with it, right? And it made her feel that way, and I felt emotional too. I was, I not that I was crying, but I was getting choked up. I was like, damn, they got me.
Yeah,
They got me. So, what about you?
yeah. That show was phenomenal. I mean, that episode was phenomenal. I think that episode was really well done. Interesting how they just again nailed everything from the actors, from just the story that they made and kind of changed from the Last of Us game, right? Because a lot of aspects are different in this one, right? I mean, if you talk about the first thing, obviously Bill, his relationship with Frank is completely different than in the game. And so it kind of paints a different picture, paints a different like tone for who Bill is, who Frank is. We don't even know who Frank is really in the game.
No.
And so we have a deeper dive of who Frank is, and it's really nice to see. It's refreshing to see that story building, that character building from these two perspectives, right? Obviously homosexual men that you kind of see their life portrayed in a post-apocalyptic world, and you just see it's kind of like a happy ending in a sense, because they lived a great life from what it seemed like, obviously up until when Bill met Frank, and it just seemed like everything was perfectly well balanced for them in a sense, right? Obviously regarding the whole post-apocalyptic thing, but living together, having
the whole world turned to crap
and
and the clickers, yeah,
they had each other, they loved each other, and they build this connection together, and then in the end they ended up dying together, right? And
peacefully.
It kind of had peacefully, and it kind of makes you the moral of the story for me. What I got from it was like, what is your purpose in life, right? Like, who do you have who do you have in your life that you love, and why are you in this world for? Like, what is your purpose?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're asking me directly, but
no, that's just rhetorical. It's just like, just, what is your purpose in life? I guess is what I took from that episode.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's kind of like if you were going through not even a post-apocalyptic scenario, just in general in life, like that's kind of how like everyone wants to go.
Yeah,
they want that peaceful, like I'm with my person, there's nothing left. And Nick Offerman's character Bill, he wasn't even ready to go. Like he was still healthy and good to go, but he's like, what's the point of me going on if you're not there? And he even said like, my point of life was to provide for you and be there for you, and if that's gone, I did what I had to do. So everything about the episode was beautiful and well crafted, and they did a really good job of making it feel tense, still making it feel Last of Us-y and not just romance. They mixed it up, and they put some of the scenes where the raiders come in and try and take over the camp and stuff like that. And like I said, a couple things they did a lot of time skipping, a lot of time hops very quickly. Right, like they were like all of a sudden it was 10 years and like they're old as hell, and I feel like Joel didn't age that much compared to how they age. Like they couldn't be that far off in age, right?
Right. No, I agree 100%. Joel in that 20-year gap looks the same in my opinion. I'm like, they could have whitened his hair up a little bit more, right? Compared to like what Bill did. Like Bill's hair just turned like straight. Like, maybe he's a little bit older. Maybe he's like 10 years older. I don't know. But yeah, it's just that's the only gripe I had about it. But overall, I thought it was a phenomenal episode. Now, I know you don't remember much about the Last of Us game, right? In the game, you don't, like I said, you don't meet Frank. In fact, you only know of Frank from a letter that Bill reads. I believe it's Bill, and basically, it reads, he got bit, and he hung himself so that he doesn't turn, right? But in the letter, he's saying, I fucking hate you, Bill. Like I didn't really like you, and this world sucks. Basically, whatever he said. Excuse me. Completely different dynamic than in the show, because again, what we talked about, these two cared and loved for each other, and you saw a completely different dynamic, and they portrayed those scenes like perfectly. Like they did such a great job of just like seeing the emotional attachment that they've had throughout the years, that I kind of prefer this ending better than the games, honestly.
It's funny you say that. You pointed out about the letter thing, right? That you don't really know Frank because, and he didn't have like you didn't know him and Bill's relationship. But the way you just said that, if you remember when Ellie read the letter that Bill wrote to Joel, That sounds a lot like the letter that Frank wrote in the game, like saying to be like, I didn't really like you. I hung myself so that way, no one else can get bit. I mean, he said that in the letter, Bill. He's just like, Joel, I didn't really like you. And we're
Right.
also, don't come upstairs because we're both dead.
Right.
But very
Exactly.
like, so it was weird that the way they like switched it around.
Yeah. But they did it so well that it works, and you don't really see Bill anymore in the game, so it kind of makes sense how they ended his arc.
Yeah.
And it was just a well thought out, well built relationship, well built character, story driven scene that I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is great. The way they made this is perfect. My only gripe with that is that in the game, Ellie and Bill interact at some point, and I like their banter, whereas this doesn't have that anymore. So I kind of wish they somehow met each other before all this happened, and you got some of that banter, because I like that like, that back and forth between Bill and Ellie. But
Yeah.
regardless,
Well, I think not what's nice, but what they did different was they kind of brought Tess in, right? They brought Tess and they showed Frank, having a conversation with Tess and being all happy
right,
that they're friends and stuff like that. Um, so, but and in the letter it also said, Joel, take care of Tess. And he
yeah,
reads that and he gets choked up. We didn't really see that in the game from what I remember. So yes, the Ellie element was missing, but we also got kind of like we got a
so
switcheroo
much
of
more.
like with Joel. Yeah. So very well done episode. Again, it adds to the lore of the game. Especially if you played the game, like this is completely new to you. You don't know what this, but it blends in so well and it fits perfectly into that piece. And this is like DLC for the game. That's how I'm looking at it, honestly.
Dude,
Like,
yeah, 100%, dude.
perfect.
And then just leading up to the next episode, like, you're gonna see how the dynamic is completely different. It's gonna be a lot more tense, a lot more action based, and it's gonna be crazy. So I'm excited to see next episode.
Yeah, me too. I again, clap to this show. It's
To the team,
incredible
yeah.
the way so far, and I think this is for the future. This is what the gold standard is for video game adaptations when it comes to shows. Is look at this. This is
I
how you
love
do
that
it.
I love that you said future, Rob, because story number one here, Naughty Dog done with Uncharted. Here's the future of Uncharted here. Co-president of Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann. I say Druckmann. I gotta say Druckmann. It's Druckmann.
He's
I
drunk,
say
man. He's drunk, man.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
Druckmann. Neil Druckmann confirms that the studio is done with Uncharted series and is moving on from the series. In an interview with BuzzFeed discussing the future of Naughty Dog and the success of the HBO The Last of Us, Neil had this to say about Uncharted. Quote, "For us, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 was one of our best-selling games. And we're able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done. We're moving on." Rob, does this surprise you in any shape or form? Like, is this something that you're like, holy shit, I didn't think, you know, like Naughty Dog would be done with Uncharted?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Uncharted guy. I appreciate the game and it's a great series, but I mean, you're on 4. I know people kind of had gripes with 4 because they kind of were like, he has a brother out of nowhere, right? I think it's 4 where they did that. Yeah. So to me, that seems like they were just like stretching the story now, and they probably felt like, okay, I think we're done. I think we should leave it before it gets bad or before we start trying to figure it out. And 4 games, that's pretty good run. You had a pretty good run with the series. I mean, look at God of War. God of War needed 3 games before it had to well, if you count like Ascension and all that kind of stuff, but 3 games and then they had a reboot. So, I think it's good to call it quits at that point. Like, know while you're still hot or whatever, and then move on to a next bigger IP, because you know how, I mean, they have Uncharted, they gave us Last of Us. What's next? Give us something else, because those were amazing series. And
Well,
yeah,
sorry to burst your bubble, Rob, but I think Uncharted 5 is going to continue. I think the Uncharted series will continue. Maybe not by Naughty Dog, but they will happen. In a recent commercial from PS5, if you want to pull that up for us.
yep, pulling up right now.
Just like maybe a couple seconds. I think seconds, I would say probably like 43 seconds in, but we'll watch the whole trailer. There's a female in a tomb, what it looks like in a tomb, and it kind of resembles, spoilers for Uncharted 4 if you guys haven't played. Spoilers. But this character
Love
looks
that you
like
did
looks like Drake's daughter, a little bit older, obviously. So once we get to that point, we'll stop it. But it just looks kind of similar, and so people are thinking, okay, you're in a tomb, you're like a female. They put two and two together, and they kind of just assume it would be Uncharted. This could be like Sony hinting at Uncharted, at least. There it
Like
is.
right, I just saw it. So do you think that's just because they're showing that from past PlayStation titles? Because they showed God of War.
Familiar, unless they're trying to, like, is that like Tomb Raider? Or are they trying to?
Well, I
But
know that
it's
Tomb Raider got. I think that looks like what's it called? What's that cat? Stray. It looks like Stray right there.
Yeah, it could be Stray. Yeah,
So right here, this shot. There's a backpack. She's in a tomb.
it doesn't look like Lara Croft, and it wouldn't even be Lara Croft. Why? Because this commercial is for PS5 first party titles, right?
Who
Or at
just
least
bought?
titles. Is that what?
No, Amazon. Sorry, Amazon just bought the rights to Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Yes, from Embracer Group. So yeah, it's definitely not Tomb Raider, 100%.
So then, what could this be? You know what I mean? There's nothing else that really fits with that mold.
Didn't PS5 when they first showed it off, like the engine they were using in it or the graphics cards, they showed off kind of like a tomb like structure. You know what I'm talking about? It was like a tech demo they did to test out.
Yes. You're right. Yes, I remember that. They were showing Unreal Engine 5.
Right. And it was within PS5. This is kind of tomby looking. You think they were already kind of working on Uncharted 5 way before everything, and this is it? So, I mean, this screenshot, it's hard not to speculate.
There's another shot too where she's kind of blowing dust off of something.
Okay,
but
let's see.
You kind of see her face a little bit, but still not anything.
Yeah, there I saw it. I saw
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so I don't.
It's hard to tell. Very hard to tell. There it is. Perfect. I mean, it looks like a little girl, right? Not a little girl, but like a child, sort of.
Yeah.
Not
Do you
Lara
think-
Croft.
Could it be like an Uncharted spin-off, like a new story, or do you really do think it's Uncharted 5?
I don't believe Sony is done with the Uncharted series. In fact, I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to rebrand that game. Okay, so Naughty Dog is completely done with that series. Give it to somebody else. I don't know who that would be. I don't know who would really take that throne, because that's a tough one to take, right? But you have a different studio, you have a different character. It's a female. It's Drake's daughter at this point, right? You would think, and so it changes. It's kind of like a rebranding of Uncharted. And you were just talking about how things got kind of stretched out a little bit towards the end with, Uncharted 4 and having a brother all of a sudden. So this would be a great time, great opportunity to like just refresh that IP, in my opinion.
Yeah. The only reason why I think this is a no for me, or no, is when these studios give up on these, not give up, but give it to a different studio. Sometimes the result isn't the greatest thing. I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but we see Bungie going to, or Halo going from Bungie to 343, not so great, right? God of War stayed within Santa Monica, and look how it came out. I just think like these super high caliber games usually should stay in their studio, their native studio. But I know they can't. That doesn't happen. But I'm skeptical about handing the reins over for this. So I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if they would be like, "Here you go, you work on it instead, our precious IP." So
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they would have to give it to somebody that really is dedicated and able to make something out of this IP, right? I mean, till this day, Naughty Dog is still representing Uncharted in a sense. If you pull up the other reference here, Rob, on episode 2 of The Last of Us, there is a reference regarding Uncharted, I believe Uncharted 2 or 3, where I want to say Trish has a flask or the lighter that is similar to what Uncharted had in one of the games. I think it's 3 or 2 or 3, one of those two. So they're still kind of throwing hints in there. They're still making Uncharted relevant in a sense. And obviously, we know Naughty Dog. That's their baby. That's their first like real big major change in the industry for them. And so this is like important to them. So obviously, they would do something like this. It would be cool to do. But I don't know. For me, I feel like it's still being talked about. It's still being thrown in our face, even if it's like subtle throws in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense for them to reboot this franchise, give it to somebody else, and just continue the series from there.
No, 100%. And if we're hitting the chat here real quick, Nasty Nate said they have to have their treasure hunter games. They have to, Sony. So they knew. Wow, that is a striking photo of you, sir. Look at that mustache. Wow.
Look at that, dude.
Holy.
That's wild.
Wow, that is
That
immaculate.
man can
right
can look good no matter what.
No matter what. Christ. Literally. And then Pat said that, Motive, look what they did with Dead Space. We had the Dead Space remake, and that was given to a different studio. So,
Great point. Yeah, exactly. That could work, man. You give it to a studio that is dedicated, that's hungry, that wants to have that like IP to for them to like work on. It could be gold.
I'm not agreeing with you. I think it could work based on like the conversation just now, but I think what it is with the whole Halo thing, I think is really like, I'm like, give it to a different studio, yucky. You know what I mean?
That says give it to Ben Studio. I don't know, man.
Ben Studio is also, if you guys don't know, it's their
Days Gone.
Days Gone.
Yeah.
There's another game that I can't think of right now, but there's another one they're working on.
I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Continuing that Sony trend here is news number 2. Sony is already cutting production for PlayStation VR 2 due to low pre-order volume. This is coming from Bloomberg. Bloomberg states that Sony's new PlayStation VR 2 is already heading for failure. Sony planned to make 2 million PSVR 2 headsets at launch, but now Bloomberg is stating that the number has been cut to 1 million. Sony stated afterwards that they do not plan to actually cut production, so it appears that this initial report is in fact false. The PSVR headset has been facing a lot of skepticism since it was revealed a few months back. $550 is a hefty price point for it. You can only play PlayStation games on it, and it's not even backwards compatible for PSVR 1, so you can only play PSVR 2 titles. And on top of that, the lineup for PSVR 2 titles don't look that hot. So a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. What do you think about this, Rob? Is it surprising to you? Nasty Nate is still on board, still gonna get it. Does this surprise you as well? Like, what do you think?
So apparently Sony said no, we're not doing that. It's a false report, but I think it's still interesting that, first of all, why is there a false report of that? Like, that's super annoying. If I was Sony, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, why? Why are you spreading something that doesn't real? But
I mean, that happens all the time, though.
Yeah. It could also be Sony covering their backs that they're actually. But do I think that pre-orders are not where they think they want it to be? I think that part's true. I think that part is 100% true.
I think so too.
I don't know. It's the same convo. Like, I'm gonna hear it from somebody else, like Nasty, who's gonna get it. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, how is it? Is it great? Is it not great?" And unless he goes, "This thing is amazing. Go get it now," then I'd be like, "All right." Or
I don't see how that's possible. I mean, I think the tech is there. I think the tech is really cool. But
yeah, I was waiting for the but.
Rob, what killed the Vita? The software. There's no software to back up the Vita, and that's my issue with the PSVR 2. There's nothing that really screams, "Oh, this game, I need to get this game. This game is, I have to buy the system because this game looks dope." And that's kind of what killed the Vita. That's what kind of, changed perspectives. Like, and that's what won people over for the PS3. If you want to change it up, right? The PS3 version, like when you talk about the PS3, their lineup was killer. Everybody, like, even though the PS3 was $600, people wanted a PS3 because of just the lineup of games that they had. Same thing now with PS5. Like, it's just a continuous cycle because they have the games to kind of back it up.
So let's talk about the games. I'll pull up on the screen here, and we'll say it for the audio listeners. But let's look at the games that are coming out for PlayStation VR 2.
Let's do it.
All right. Um, number one is Horizon Call of the Mountain, right? We know this is
Arguably the biggest, right?
okay.
The
Okay.
arguably the biggest title that they have right now for PSVR 2, right? You disagree?
No. I'm not saying I disagree, but like Horizon isn't really like people aren't
Oh,
psyched for Horizon. Like we know that, but
agreed.
from Forbidden West, like people didn't really play it like that.
Agreed.
It's I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything like that, but as far as people playing it, like a lot of people had to like I know one of our buddies, he had to force himself to play it. Like that's how I feel. I feel like I have to literally drag myself and force myself to play Forbidden West, even though I know it's a beautiful and great game. It's just something about it just doesn't grab my attention. I don't know what it is,
And
but
then you
that's
talk about Call of the Mountain. Honestly, what I've seen, I'm not that impressed. Like, it looks great, I guess, but nothing about it screams like, holy shit, dude. Like, I fucking need a PSVR 2 right now. Like
right.
you just have to like really get it. Like, no, nothing about it is captivating me, but I can see the appeal. I just don't think for me it's gonna sway me any difference.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think the reason why VR doesn't do well is because it's hard to show
100%.
VR on like when you're because VR is again you're adding that extra element, but you're just watching on a screen. You're like I'm just watching a trailer to a first person game.
Yeah.
You think that's what it is? You think it's a marketing that it's hard to market because of you can't actually like be in there and feel it and see what's happening. You're only
That's
seeing
the
it through first.
Go ahead, sorry.
That's what I'm saying. You're basically it's basically just like a first person shooter or first person view of things. So when you're watching it on as a trailer, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with VR, right? And it's hard to market VR because on screen you're not really seeing anything that you'll really see when you're hands on. Like you have to really have hands on to understand how
Mm-hmm.
VR works. And that's probably my issue too because I've not really had hands on with VR. Never really had. So am I kind of swayed it in one way because I've never really played it? Probably. That's probably what it is. Maybe if I got my hands on the PSVR 2, I'd be like, "Oh shit, like this tech is where it's at. Like I need to have this." But um it's hard to sell. It's hard to like really show people like, "Hey, you need this because this is what you can do." Like how do you present that even on stage? How do you present that, you know?
That's the thing, right? Every time I've tried VR, I've liked it for the most part. Like my buddy had Beat Saber. He had an Oculus, I think, and I put it on and I was freaking doing the whole crazy looking like an idiot. And
Right.
I had a blast. I'm like, I want this. This is sick. But when I watch it when I watch it, I'm like, I don't care. Like why it just looks like a regular game to me.
Right.
And but when I'm actually experiencing VR, it makes me want it. It makes me want to be like, this is cool piece of hardware, and I just want to try different things on this. So I think that's the number one issue right now we're having with VR is it's a transition of how do we get people to be excited about VR without
Mhm.
having them put on a headset and you know what I mean. So
To the chat here, are you guys besides Nasty Nate? We know he's gonna get it. Are you guys interested in PSVR 2? Are you possibly gonna get it? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm definitely interested and curious to see what people have to say about it. I've seen people kind of go both ways. They're really interested, but it just costs too much, or they're like, yeah, I'm all in. I'm gonna get it day one. You know, so interesting, very very interesting.
and I guess another question after chat too, whoever has a VR headset or do you play it in small bursts because it's disorienting for a while or you just rather sit down with a controller looking at a TV and not having like your like just having this thing on your head for 3 hours at a time. I'd imagine it gets uncomfortable after a while. So maybe
Right,
that's part of it too, right? You just don't want to sit there for 3 hours and have this thing on your head.
right.
So
Interesting. We'll have to see. This comes out this year, right?
yes.
Soon.
Yes.
So we'll see what the numbers look like. But also, this is tethered, and that pisses me off too. So I kind of wish they took that step forward and made it just completely wireless, and maybe then I'd be like, okay, like now I'll get that true VR experience. But because it's tethered, I mean, granted, it's like one wire, just like this, right? But
One wire and it's super long.
so it might not be that bad, but the fact that they couldn't just transition out of that, and for you don't know why, right? It could have been many reasons, but I just wish they took that step forward.
It's a lot of data to do wirelessly if you think about it.
Yeah.
I think that they could have probably went wireless, but it would have been even more expensive to do that way. I don't think I've tried a headset with a wire yet. I think I've only tried like a wireless headset, like a Quest 2, I think. From what I've heard from people, though, the wire doesn't really bother them that much because of how long it is. But I would be deathly afraid if I plug it in and I'm playing like some scary game or something like, Resident Evil 4. And then all of a sudden I like yank and then it just yanks out of my PS5 and my PS5 falls on the floor and it's destroyed forever and I cry. And then I'm out not only the $500, but I'm out the $400 for the PS5. So,
Yeah, that would be a sight to see. That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I have Gran Turismo on here. That's a good game for VR.
That's true. It's also a game that came out already, right?
Gran Turismo 7? I don't think so.
Isn't this the old one or?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Is this the new Gran Turismo?
This is the old one. This is the old one. Yeah. It's the old one.
So, I mean, cool, but like, okay. Yeah, that's where I feel with the PSVR, with the whole VR situation, but we'll see.
Right.
It's weird. Okay, here's a different topic, but kind of keeping it within the PSVR scope. Sony really pushing the PSVR too, right? Weirdly enough, like, I mean, sure, PSVR 1 sold a decent amount, but you would think in this day and age, they would kind of focus on another handheld instead of PlayStation VR. Like, VR isn't the most popular thing right now, right? Like, obviously, it has a certain niche, but when it comes to like handhelds, like I think handhelds have been going off the charts as of recent years. No, Nasty Nate says no. So you wouldn't want them. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cold, but you wouldn't want them to like really have a little bit of juice there. You wouldn't want them to have any like handheld like after the Vita. You don't want Vita 2?
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem with Sony. They kind of did it, and they have proven that they kind of fail. They fail at it. They can't, for whatever reason, they just don't compete with Nintendo. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a PSP fan base. There's a Vita. The Vita was a good system for the most part. A lot of people love it. Like, again, we talked about last episode. People love the Vita, but
no,
they just don't do it well. They just don't. The problem is the titles. They don't do the titles right. Like, Nintendo has a secret sauce, right? They do exclusives for their handheld, but for the Sony handhelds, they just can't get the titles right. They can't do it for some reason.
Dude, the PSP says fuck you. Honestly, the PSP did it right.
With what?
You don't think they had the titles? They had the proper titles that they needed. That shit sold relatively well, I think. I mean, granted, I've never had a PSP, but the Vita is where their downfall was, right? The Vita was an issue because I think it was too ahead of its time, and it didn't have the software to back it up. So if they change that, and you think of Nintendo right now, Nintendo isn't in the handheld space anymore. Granted, they fuse their console. They fuse their console with a handheld. They don't have a 3DS anymore.
The Switch Lite's a 3DS. The 3DS, the Switch Lite is their handheld. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can't dock it. It's literally smaller. You can put it in your pocket.
Switch. It's still the Switch. No matter what, it's still the Switch.
It's different.
I don't think they're in that space of like handheld. Like Sony could, like, again, you have Steam Deck killing it. You have, what are the other like weird brands?
Yeah, but the Steam Deck isn't even a true handheld. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's not a true handheld thing. I don't feel comfortable taking the.
So you've played it on your TV, is what you're saying. Every time you played your Steam Deck, you've played it on your TV.
That's what you're saying. But I'm saying portability wise, that's what goes along with a handheld. It's not very portable. I'm not gonna lug this thing on a walk to the park. I'm not taking, like, I brought this thing on a flight with me, And I'm sitting there and I'm squished and I'm like have this giant brick in my lap of just like this giant thing. Plus the battery life isn't the greatest thing in the world if you're playing directly on, like if you're loading up a game on Steam. If you're emulating, that's fine. But you can't even play your cloud games because you have no internet on the plane most of the time and you have to pay for it and the internet sucks. So like, yeah, the Steam Deck is handheld, but like compared to a Switch Lite where it literally can just shove it in my like cargo, the big cargo pants pocket, like I could just shove it in there.
Whoa there, man. I didn't know where this was going. So I was like, wait, where are you going to shove this thing, dude? Holy shit.
Oh, shit.
But I get it. I'm just saying Sony can come back and they can make a comeback. And they can fix all the issues that the Vita had. And yes, Nasty Nate, I hear you. I'm not ignoring you. Right, I see all your messages, bro. I missed the one that you wrote. There's too many handhelds. What's the point, right? I get it, but if Sony does it right, dude, I think with the titles that they have, it'll stand out from the rest of the handhelds. If you can play, I mean, granted, they're kind of transitioning over to PC, right? But if you can play that portably. If you can play, you kind of can now, I guess, right? With the Steam Deck. I guess the Steam Deck is kind of like encompasses everything. Like it just kind of like takes everything and just combines it into one. I can play my Xbox. I can play my PS5 games.
You can play my PC games.
Yeah. So that's the answer, I guess, is the Steam Deck. Everyone buy a Steam Deck. Basically.
But again, I do miss an ultra portable solution. But I just don't think they would have the titles for it. That's where I see that Sony being the downfall is the titles because the Vita failed. Remember PSP Go? Remember that thing?
Yes.
Do you know? You remember PSP Go?
Remember the PSP Go? Yeah, that was rough.
It was cool.
What else is rough, Rob?
What's up?
News number 3 here. E3 loses the big 3 at this year's E3 2023. E3 is back after 4 years without a physical event. Arguably the biggest gaming industry event for major showcases in the gaming industry. Unfortunately, this year, E3 loses the big 3, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, as multiple IGN sources claim that Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo will not be part of E3 2023 or even have a presence in the Los Angeles Convention Center show floor. IGN spoke with Xbox CEO Phil Spencer after announcing that they will return for its annual summer showcase, but will not be aligned with E3. They seem to be timing the showcase with, quote, convenience for press and event consumers. Nintendo has maintained a booth at E3 show floor, but sources claim that they will no longer be there this year. Rob, what do you think? Like, what's happening? Like, why is E3 trying so hard right now?
I mean, we knew this was happening. We knew they were going to come. We knew it was going to be like a grand old party. Like, yeah, the gang's back together. Let's do this. Like, no, like Nintendo stumbled on this thing, with a direct.
Yep.
And then Sony was like, "That's a good idea. we should do that too." They did it, right? And they were successful. Now, after all these years, Xbox is like, "Screw it, we're gonna do it too." And granted, it was a little different compared to the other two. I would say it's probably the most odd one.
The direct,
the developer direct, developer direct. But still, I would say pretty successful, given that we got Hi-Fi Rush. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I get why they're not going to go. Like, you have control of your own destiny. Like, why would you pay to have a presence? You know how much it takes to set up, to have a presence in those shows and stuff like that.
Cost, the amount of money you're spending.
Right, exactly. You have to make sure that the timeline is there. Then there's gonna be crunch if people get the trailer out. This way, they're just like, no, we're just gonna take our time, not stress out our developers. When they're ready, they're ready. We're not gonna make it ready by this time. So this was. I don't even understand why people were saying, like, thinking about, like, yeah, they're going to be there. Like, no, they 100. Nintendo for a fact, like, for a fact they weren't going to be there.
Right. So. I kind of feel like the showcase industry, I guess, the showcase battle between Jeff Keighley and E3 is just getting saturated at this point. Like, Jeff Keighley has taken over yearly the showcase floor in a sense.
Yes.
And he does it every couple months. He does the summer showcase. He does the what's the end one, the summer showcase. He does the game awards. Like,
Game
he does
Fest?
a bunch of.
No, that's Xbox.
Oh, that's part of. Oh no, that's Game Fest. Yeah, that's him. Summer Game Fest is him. Yeah. Jeff Keighley.
Yeah,
Think
I
about something else.
just what?
You thinking about something else?
Probably. But yeah, I mean, I think E3 is just a relic of the past at this point.
I just think it's trying to come back, and it's like not. It's not that it's not wanted, but it's like you're too late. You know, like we've have a bunch of other things that kind of took over, and they're doing it well. And so, especially you losing the big three, right? You're not having those main stage like like Microsoft, Sony, like Nintendo, like those are the main three that typically people would go and watch E3 for. You don't have them. Like all you have is what? Ubisoft? Like and Ubisoft is down in the shitter right now.
Yeah, I think what they could turn it into, if they wanted to give that physical presence, is just kind of turn it into a video game con almost. Kind of like how like PAX is. Like PAX East is kind of like that. PAX East is, I know it's like indies and stuff like that, but make it more of like a con where you have everyone dressing up, make it open ended, have vendors, have people there, have some developers there that are showcasing their game and have demos out that you can come play, but don't make it into this, spectacle anymore as far as like a showcase. Don't make it into a showcase anymore. Make it into a con. I think
don't make it suit and tie. Like just make it like a fun place to be. We've talked about this, right? We're like, hey, why isn't there a gaming convention? Like there is PAX, you can consider a gaming convention, but like that's mostly for indies, right?
Right.
Where is a convention that you just have a like legit, just straight up like games, like whether you're indie, whether you're AAA, like just have a fun old time and just have all the stuff that you love gaming in one convention. I don't think there's something like that, or at least not to my knowledge.
There is stuff like that, but they're small. They're not. There's not like a super. It's usually like in a city.
There's like game. There's literally called gaming conventions. But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're small, like you said. There's nothing like E3 scope.
Yeah, and they usually combine with like anime. They usually do like an
Yes.
anime kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that's what E3 should turn into if they want to capture kind of like that physical presence, because that's what it was. It was a physical presence kind of thing. So maybe that's what they should aim towards. Other than that, like I don't care about Ubisoft that much. I don't care about EA that much. Well, they're like, yes, but I don't want to see a whole showcase of EA. You know what I mean? So
Yes, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Do you care about 343 though, Rob? Industries?
I do care. I care about them quite a bit, man. I really do.
Because news number 4, 343 Industries lays off, and the future of Halo is what we're going to be talking about. As you may know, as you may heard, Microsoft has been having a mass layoff of people in the 343 Industries, and it's been affected as of like last week or something. I think it happened like recently, right? Well, basically when it happened with everybody else kind of having those layoffs with the tech industry, gaming industry, 343 has reported a loss of 95 jobs and affected the future of Halo in a huge way. 343 is restarting its development and will be moving over to Unreal Engine 5. The current engine, called Slipspace, is aging and is struggling to work with. There will also be no plans to deliver more story content for Halo Infinite, which did we ever have a confirmation that was going to be something that we were getting, like actual story DLC?
I don't know if we were actually getting
that? Is that one of
I don't
the
know if promised,
promises?
but no. What happened was or Microsoft or Xbox, they promised that Infinite was going to be like a 10-year thing full of updates, right? It was going to keep it was going to keep going. So you would assume that there would be some type of story element to that if you're keeping the game, updated for 2 years. I mean, look at Destiny. Destiny does story as well as multiplayer. So I think a lot of people were disappointed with that.
We did debunk a rumor saying that 343 will continue to work on Halo projects. Halo project codename Tatanka,
maybe
Tatanka, which will
Tanaka,
use Unreal
maybe.
Engine 5, which apparently started as a battle royale. Come on, give me a battle royale Halo. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Again, a lot of people losing their jobs this time of year. 343 definitely hit hard, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of it has to do with just the way they're running the ship there, right? The way they're kind of handling the Halo franchise as a whole. It's tough because one, it looks like they're moving to Unreal Engine 5, which okay, I guess it will help with cost. My assumption, because if they have their own engine, Slipspace, that's money. That's money that they're spending. But if they move over to Unreal Engine 5, that's like a third party. They'll probably save money there. But also, like this says here, it's probably a struggle to work with their engine currently. They probably didn't have the necessary infrastructure that was able to kind of help build. I mean, the game runs fine. The game runs great, but I'm sure it was a hell. Like it was hell for them to kind of like develop it, which is why that game got delayed a few times.
Yeah,
Part of the reason.
they were saying that it's aging, and it was a hard engine to work with, right? So Unreal Engine 5 is going to be a lot easier because it's kind of like the standard, and it's more open source for everyone to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I think the biggest concern that they have with Unreal Engine 5 is it still going to feel like Halo? I think that was like a lot of people were like, the reason why they're using Slipspace is because it's like a legacy system. It's kind of old, but that's how it gets the Halo feel, is through that engine.
Right.
So if they move over to this engine, is it still going to feel Halo-y, or is it going to feel like a completely?
Is it going to look like Gears?
Yeah, or is it going to feel like kind of like I know Halo 5 was probably the Halo that felt the least like Halo. Is it going to feel like something like that?
Really? Is that the general consensus of it?
I think so. I think Halo 5 was kind of like the weirdest. I think it's it felt weird compared to the other ones.
Really?
Yeah.
At least me, as not a Halo fan, like it felt just like any other Halo. Like it felt like right at home. I feel like, interesting. I wish 343 the best. I was kind of in the bandwagon of maybe 343 should take a break with Halo and try something different, and maybe have another studio work on Halo and see what they can do. But if we're saying that 343 is going to continue working on Halo, then again, I think Halo is in a tough spot because of how the post content has been. Otherwise, the gameplay feels good. The graphic fidelity looks fine. Like everything about Halo feels and looks like Halo. They just need to work on post content and kind of sticking to their guns, sticking to their word, and saying this is coming out, this is going to come out. Obviously, Halo Infinite had a major issue when it comes to like really meeting the deadlines of things, and some things got scrapped because of it. Mm-hmm. If they keep it where this is our goal for the next 10 years, similar to Bungie and Destiny, this is our 10-year plan, and they hit those points, I think Halo can come back.
I think so. I mean, I know it's impossible, but I think if Bungie took over Halo again, it's still it's different people there, but that's kind of like the savior. I think Halo needs to come back to its roots, and that's what they need to do. I think this needed to happen. I think granted, I didn't wish layoffs to happen, but I think the reset button needed to be clicked, because I think Halo Infinite was kind of, I don't want to say it was a lost cause, but they were kind of like beating a dead horse at that point, because it kind of came and gone, and you could tell, unless they did like some major thing like the Battle Royale where we get people in, which it seems like they're trying to implement and see. But I don't know, man. I guess it could be an exciting time to be a Halo fan, because like you're gonna get something new soon, eventually. But
do you think is that what they're working on? You think a Battle Royale? Is that what you were alluding to, or no?
I guess the new project started out as a Battle Royale. I really do think they need to go back to story. They really need to really flesh out that story, because when it comes to first person shooters, what is the number one you kind of think it comes out against the story? So it's Halo.
Yeah. So yeah. Chazzy in the chat says, I'm interested in seeing what it is, and like I was kind of excited for Infinite, and I don't know, it just didn't deliver for me. So that's kind of like the general like consensus of this, right? Like it's like, okay, like I was excited for this, it seemed cool, and then it just fell off. No one played it, or not that no one played it, but like very few people continued playing the game. And of course, it didn't help that 343 didn't deliver on the promises, so that kind of left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. So unfortunately,
yeah, but it could be a good thing for Halo as well.
Yeah. I don't think Halo is done. It doesn't seem like Halo is, going to be pushed away. If anything, they're going to continue to keep pushing Halo because it's such a big franchise. So they just have to figure out the right way to do it.
Question: do you think they move away from Master Chief?
No way. No, because what else would you do? Nothing. It's weird. Master Chief is one of those weird, iconic characters that he's just a guy in a suit, but people seem to just like really like his character a lot. And I don't know if
They
it's
did Reach, bro. They did Reach. Reach, you were a different Spartan. You weren't. You were level team 6. So I think it can be done. You just have to do well, right?
You can do it once or twice, but to literally remove yourself from Master Chief, I don't think that's a smart move for them. I don't think so. Unless you're like really going like full blown like rebranding and completely changing the iconic character, like the mascot of Halo, maybe.
Yeah, it's a hell of a job. It's not an easy job.
It's a hell of a job.
Yeah.
That ends our news for the week. I'm gonna go into in-game chat now. We'll talk about.
Before we move into in-game chat, we have
Expert,
little baby. We got the baby news.
Sorry.
What
are you talking about?
The baby news. The quick news. Yeah.
Where's the baby news?
It's up top.
Oh, you left it up top, bastard.
Yeah, that's why. That's
why. Before we go into in-game chat, we're gonna start with some quick news. Just a little segment where we just throw in some other detailed news that we aren't gonna go into full detail. Just give you the news for the week. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is delayed till April. A new adult Gohan and Piccolo skin coming to Fortnite.
God damn it, Fortnite! Gonna get me in there again. I'm gonna log in. It's gonna be a ton of freaking Gohans in there. Watch.
Yep. Apex Legends Mobile shutting down after only 10 months. And Final Fantasy 7 anniversary, 26th anniversary gets national holiday in Japan.
And a Lego set's coming.
And a Lego set is coming. How is that? I don't even know how that looks like. Is it like what is it? What is it?
It's going to be based off the scenes. They like put out a poll saying there's 4 scenes from Final Fantasy 7. Pick which one you guys like the most, and whoever one wins will be made into a Lego set. So it's going to be kind of like one of those set pieces. You know how they have like the Friends? I don't know if you don't really do Legos, so you don't really understand what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Sorry. Before we go into in-game chat, Chazzy says, I'm good with the Jedi delay. Delay it, work on it, make it right. I agree. I think it's a stacked month. I think was it supposed to come out this month, right?
March.
Okay.
I think March. April. Yes.
That's fair. Because this month is stacked. Hogwarts Legacy? Low-key
Day one for you. Day one for you now, right? I guarantee you.
Excited, dude. I don't know why. Like, I'm not a Hogwarts.
We listen to this fucking shoot shit out your fucking wall, bro. Patronus fucking big as dickens, like fucking.
In-game chat. This is a question for you, Rob. Or in-game chat for this week. Dramatic pause. Should more developers shadow drop games? Comparing shadow drops to marketed games. Obviously, this stems from Hi-Fi Rush, the game that came out last week, completely took everyone by storm. We had no idea that was coming out. It was shown off in the Xbox Developers Direct, and it's like, hey guys, here's a trailer for Hi-Fi Rush. It's awesome, right? Guess what? You can play it right now, or like in a few hours. And that was just like mind-blowing for me, right? So everyone tried it out. We played it. I've talked a little bit about it earlier in this episode. I love it. Rob, you love it. And so the question begs to be answered here. Should more developers shadow drop games? And is this a good thing?
I mean, the answer is yes, but it depends on the game. What's Hi-Fi Rush? I keep wanting to say High Time. Hi-Fi Rush is a very linear game. It's very like, I don't want to say it's safe, but there's no online.
I would say it's a safe game.
There's no online. It's not a huge open world, nothing like that. It's story driven. It's kind of neat, and it's here. This is what you're getting, and that's pretty much it. But if you take like an open world game and you take something like that, you just shadow drop it, people were like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what the hell is all this? I don't want to deal with it. Like, for something like that, you kind of have to build up. Like, we're building this world, and this world, you could be a fucking chicken, and the chicken, you can find a rooster and fall in love, and you know what I mean? Like something stupid like that. I don't know why he's the example.
I was great. Yeah.
But like, it really depends on the game to be to be Shadow. You like my pitch for a game, video game?
That was great, dude. That was great.
Yeah.
Pitch of Sony, dude.
But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Shadow Drops. I'll say this about Shadow Drops. The number one thing I love about them is it takes the biased opinion you may have if you read the review. Right?
Agreed. Yeah, I think it does.
If Hi-Fi Rush was marketed and they were like, it's coming out this day in 4 months or whatever, and you look into it and you look in the reviews and you're dissecting the gameplay, and people are like, oh, this looks really good, but I don't know if I like seeing this. And then people get the review codes and then they review it. And then you see the reviews online. Someone gave it a 3, someone gave it a 5, someone gave it a 4, someone gave it a 3. You're like, is this game good? Is this game bad? I don't know. You had nothing. It's just a blank slate. You saw the trailer. It came out. It's done. You have your own opinion right there. You're playing. You're like, whoa, this is sick. I like this. This feels good. But maybe if someone put into your brain like, this game sucks, you might be like, I don't like this part of the game because this person said this. So that's how I feel about Shadow Drops.
Dude, this was a perfect storm because the trailer was phenomenal, which is what inclined people to be like, holy shit, like this looks cool. Like I stopped what I was doing. I was at work and, I'm casually watching the showcase. And when that came out, when Hi-Fi was shown, I stopped what I was doing. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Like this is really cool. What? And the fun that they had in that trailer too. Like it's just like, from the developers of what's it called? Whatever game they made. I forget the
Evil
Within.
Yeah, Evil
Within.
Yeah.
I'm really like my stuffy right now. Sorry guys.
You're good. You get it.
And they're like, just get like, they said like, no, seriously, like they were like kind of making jokes about it. Like that was cool. Again, this game had no marketing whatsoever, no buzz. And so you play that game for the first time because of the trailer and you're instantly hooked. You're like you said perfectly, Rob. You're instantly taking it with what you see at first, like at face value. Like you're seeing everything for what it is. You're making your own opinions, and that works for this game because of the simplicity of it, right? You were talking about simplicity in the beginning. This game kind of feels like a GameCube game. And I'm saying that in the most like positive way,
endearing way. You're not saying that like it's old.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fun like GameCube game that came out in 2023. Like it has like all that like quirkiness to it. It has like the fun like dialogue. Like it's just fun to play, right? And it can't happen for every single game. Chazzy wrote in this chat in this message here, he was saying, what if like Metal Gear came out with no promo? Yes, it could probably work because Metal Gear is such a huge, like, a massive conglomerate, like game. But if it's a game that's coming out now, like an indie game, like you can't really expect the same hype because some people just don't. They don't vibe with that kind of game, whatever it is. It just depends on what you're showing off. You can't have a game like you said have like a whole full 70-hour campaign and online component and then just shadow drop it and expect people to be like, holy shit, like this is like, no, you can't. You have to have a very precise marketing team without any marketing if you're trying to shadow drop it, but know exactly how you're going to market this game when it first drops.
So to say that to say that it wasn't marketed is a lie. The trailer did the marketing for a sec. When we first saw the trailer, it piqued your interest when you saw it. You're like, oh, what is this? Mm-hmm. And you were interested. And then they were like, it's out. That trailer piqued your interest, making you want to be like, that looked kind of cool. I'm going to go try that out real quick. Right. So there needs to be a little sprinkle of marketing there to pique the interest. But they executed that. Congrats to, I forget the name of the developer, Evil Within developer. What are they called?
I'll find out.
Yeah. But they did a perfectly like textbook just execution of the shadow drop. Like that was, I don't know if anyone could do it better than they could because that was crazy.
Bingo game works.
Yeah. And Chazzy, to answer your question, the game is essentially
he asked, what is the game about?
Yeah. So you're a guy who has like an issue. I think he has no arm, so he can add they can give him a new arm. This like huge conglomerate that creates mechs and stuff like that. And they said, okay, we'll give you a new arm. But when they made his arm, they like infused it with his iPod. So like his heart is his iPod now, and it's really weird. I know I'm explaining it really, really weird, but like he can feel the music of the beat of the world. So like when you're playing, like everything kind of has a beat, and when you hit people and enemies, there's a little beat that pops up, and then you basically are hitting to the beat, and the combos extend, and the music plays louder, and he thinks he's a rock star, or he's an aspiring rock star, and there's a lot more goes into it, but that's basically it. To put it in a nutshell, it's very, very similar to almost like a Scott Pilgrim kind of adventure, but it combines, like Kelvin said, the elements of like an old GameCube game, like what was the one, like Sunset Overdrive.
Yep.
What's the other game that people were comparing it to?
It was Scott Pilgrim and Sunset. At least
No,
for me,
there was a GameCube. Oh, something radio. It was a GameCube game, something radio. I don't remember the name of it, but
okay. Yeah. It's a rhythm platformer basically.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun rhythm platformer at that. Yeah. So that's basically the topic for this week. So the basis of it is I don't think it works for everybody. I don't think every developer should do this. Definitely it worked for Tango GameWorks, which is, kudos to them, but it can't work for every single developer. If you're a first-time indie developer and you're making this game, you work 10 years in this game and you're like, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'm going to shadow drop this and it's going to make a huge headline. Like, it's not going to work, dude. Like, don't do that. Indie developers do not just shadow drop your games. Please. There is a need for marketing, but when the time is right.
I think a good game, like just off the top of my head, that could have been just shadow dropped, and I don't know if it actually was or anything, but like Among Us, I think if they showed off, like you can like play with your friends, and then they just be like, you go play this now with your friends, grab a buddy, go play this. Then I can see something like that working. But
those are also fascinating stories. Among Us was one of them where that game came out years ago, and it wasn't until streamers picked it up that it got huge. And so that's another type of marketing, right? You have streamers that really market the game for you, that make games kind of really blow out of what they were initially kind of like housed in with just like the little market that they had. And it just becomes this massive IP, which is another interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, streamers is also form of media, right? It's essentially TV. If you think about it, like it's TV, it's modern day TV for us. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, that ends our week of the Gaming Duo podcast. Rob, thank you. Appreciate your insight, your input.
Thank you.
Anything for the viewers here? Anything for the listeners?
No, not right now. I mean, we are going to be doing a couple of things in the coming months. We're preparing to do that. A lot of cool announcements, and they really are going to be really cool. I'm not just saying that. Like, I'm actually really psyched for them. I'll be leaving for Puerto Rico pretty soon, so I don't know if Kelvin's going to want to do this show by himself, or he's going to want a nice little guest in here. If you want to be a guest on the show,
wants to join,
here's
hit the boy up.
There you go. You got to be a nice co-host, be a guest. It'll be fun times. And yeah, that's all I got. Should I open my Sephiroth amiibo that I got, or should I keep it sealed? What do you think?
I would leave it for a poll on Twitter and see what they say.
They're gonna say yes. They're gonna say yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I look at them like I should open it, but then I look at them like I shouldn't open it. I shouldn't open it. It's one of those weird things.
I have mine open. It's fine. It's cool.
Well, is it like next to you or no? Is it back tomorrow?
It's over there. You want to take it out?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's too much work. Do you have any other amiibos that are closed that are like in
No, I have Link. I mean, I'm not going to start an amiibo collection. I'm not going to do that because
same.
Chazzy actually has an amiibo. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time one.
His are all like in the box.
Yeah, but they fetch a pretty penny now. They're like, I think that one's like $80 right now if you wanted to buy it. So I imagine a Sephiroth one, it'll probably cost some type of money in a couple of years and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see, man. One day I'm just like, I don't care.
We'll have to see. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Again, we'll see you guys next week. Right? You're here next week, Rob.
I'm here next week. I'll be here.
You're here next week. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.